What is up, YouTube? Shiver here. Now, before I go ahead and get into this battle, I just want to ask y'all if y'all could please be kind and drop a subscribe and follow me on Twitter. It would greatly help me out, and I would greatly appreciate it. But only if y'all enjoy my content so far. I mean, I don't want y'all just subscribe just to subscribe, of course. I want y'all to subscribe because y'all enjoy my content, and I guarantee you, I promise you all, the content will get better once I get my capture cards. Just a matter of time before they send it off again. But other than that, it would greatly help me out if y'all did drop a follow and a subscribe. But let's go ahead and start off with the battle. Looking at his team, we have an Aerodactyl, an Umbreon, a Slowbro, a Lucario, Chandelier, and an Infernape. We have two walls, which will be his Umbreon and Slowbro. Me, I have my walls as the Melodic and my Goodra. Wasn't really worried about the team. I felt like it was going to be an easy battle, but it turned out to be actually a really good battle. Like, it was, I honestly, this has been a good battle I haven't had in a while, you know. I really, it felt, I don't know if y'all have ever had those moments where the battle is so intense, you actually feel like the damn trainer. That's how this battle was. Other than that, let's go ahead and get on with the battle. Battle's about to begin in the Kalos region. Starting off with Tommy is issuing the challenge off with this Infernape. I go ahead and lead off with my Zebra Strike, as I kind of already felt like he was going to lead off with this Infernape, and I had nobody else as a better lead since I do have Volt Switch. I was going to go for a Thunderbolt, and I knew it would have taken him out, but I felt like he probably had Focus Sash, and I didn't want to go down to a close combat. So I was like, okay, then I'll switch into my Conkeldurr. So I switched into my Conkeldurr. I had nobody else really to take close combat. My Melodic would have not taken it. It would have taken it half, and I couldn't let my Melodic already take that much damage. So I go for the Mach Punch, and I'm able to take out his Infernape, and he switches into his, I believe, who did he switch into? To a Slowbro. He switches into a Slowbro, and I was gonna go for a Thunder Punch, but I was like, nah, I can't. I mean, I know it wouldn't take it out with one shot, so I was like, I knew I needed to wither down his Slowbro. So I switch into my Zebra Strike. He goes for a Calm Mind, and I'm sure if his special defense wasn't boosted up already, I'm sure I would have taken it out with the first Thunderbolt, but I didn't, thanks to that Calm Mind. I'm not sure. Maybe I would have gotten into red health. I'm not sure. But I decide he goes for the Side Shock, and I believe he thought I was going to switch back into my Conkeldurr just to finish him off, but that wasn't the case. So I stayed in, actually hoping to take any move. I thought he was gonna go for like another Calm Mind or something. I'm not sure, but yeah, he actually went for an offense move. He switches into his Lucario. I stayed in and used a Thunderbolt, and I'm able to bring his Lucario down to yellow health. Wasn't enough to take him out, but I do have Life Orb on my Zebra Strike, so my Zebra Strike is dying at the same time. And he's able to take me out with an extreme speed. I wanted to go for a Volt Switch and get out of there, but he had priority over my Zebra Strike. So Lucario does carry the Life Orb as well. And these Lucarios are, man, especially the Mega Evolutions, they're a bit annoying if you're not ready for them. So I switched into my Conkeldurr so I could go for a Mach Punch priority, but he suspected that, and he switched into his Chandelier. Now, Chandelier can take fighting type moves just like that, since it is a ghost type. Now I didn't want to stay in. I needed my Conkeldurr, so I switched out, and I switched into my Goodra, and his Conkeldurr decides to go for the Side Shock. Now I believe he was I'm sure he was Specs. I'm not sure if he was Scarfed or not, because it did more damage than usual. I'm pretty sure he was Specs, because later on I do outspeed him. And so he goes into his Umbreon, which is a really, really good defense wall for special defense. It's annoying too, because, I mean, you can already figure out the set they're going to run: Toxic, Protect and all that, but they're just so annoying. They're hard to get by to sometimes. I knew he was going to go for a Toxic, and I switched into my Melodic. I really had nobody else to switch into, so I was like, my Melodic can recover at the same time, so Toxic, being poisoned wasn't a big issue, and I got Marvel Skill, so my defense does get boosted up a little. So I stayed in, and he goes for the Protect, and I believe I was going to go for a Dragon Tail just to get him out the way, but he went for the Protect, so obviously I couldn't do that. So I have leftovers on my Melodic, so I'm regaining health at the same time, but the poison damage is doing more than what I'm gaining off my leftovers, so it really doesn't really matter. So Basically, it nullifies my leftovers. So I go for the Scald, and luckily I do get a burn on first try. I wasn't fishing for a burn, but I was able to get the burn. And my Umbreon has synchronized, but it doesn't pass on to me due to me being already poisoned. I would have taken the burn over the poison, of course, any day, but obviously that didn't happen. So he has leftovers as well, so he's able to regain his burn damage off the leftovers, which basically the burn gets nullified. It's like, you know, no damage is being taken most of the time. So I'm like, okay, he's gonna go for a protect this time. I was like, I can go for the recover, and I need another switch in, you know. I can't switch. I don't want to switch out and switch into a toxic, you know. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go for the recover. He's not gonna be able to go to protect. He's gonna have to go for an offense move or toxic, suspecting a switch. So I'm like, okay, so this is where I go for the Dragon Tail. So obviously he actually goes for an offense move, I believe. He goes for the payback. And yeah, the payback. And I knew his Umbreon was probably going to stay. He probably wasn't going to switch in at all because I couldn't really touch his Umbreon. So he probably was going to play, you know, a stall game with me. And I didn't want that shit. So I get his Umbreon out and it comes into his Lucario. So honestly, I stayed in either way. I should have switched out. I don't know who I could have switched out to somebody else, but I decided to stay in. I was like, okay, probably I could take close combat and take it out with the Scald. But I got a critical hit, and on top of that, the toxic damage already brought my health down to yellow. If it was still in green and it wasn't a crit, I'm sure I could have lived it and taken out his Lucario. But it didn't happen that way. You know, stuff happens. So I switched into my Lydian, knowing he was probably going to go for the priority move, Extreme Speed. And my Lydian does carry Focus Sash, so this would give me a chance to, you know, take him out with, I believe I went for a Drain Punch. I went for Drain Punch, you know, because just to get as much health as I could get back, even though it didn't really matter. I mean, it wasn't a lot of health, but hey, something, you know. I mean, so Lydian is really fragile. That's why it's in the Little Cup usually. So honestly, I mean, Lydian didn't really shine this battle, but it was able to knock out a Pokemon. So he switches into a Slowbro, and I didn't want to switch out because Lydian's already going to die either way. So I was like, I might as well just go for a little bit more damage that I could go for. So I went for the Thunder Punch. Wasn't really nothing, really, but hey, any damage is better than nothing. So he takes out my Lydian with the Side Shot. Goodbye, Lydian. Poor Ladybug died. So now I get a free switch in. I'm like, okay, who am I going to switch into? I mean, I could switch into my Conkeldurr. Maybe I could take it out with a Thunder Punch. And I do go for... Actually, I think this is where I do take out his Slowbro. No, I don't. Just barely take out his Slowbro. Now, he goes for the Scald, and my Conkeldurr takes it very good, and it wasn't a burn or anything. It doesn't really take it that good, but, you know, 19 HP. I knew he was going to switch out, so this was my chance. Okay, you know, I'm going to switch out. He has Regenerator. Of course he's going to switch out. He's not going to stay in, you know, take another hit. So, I switched into my Chandelier. I guess he knew I was going to switch into. I should have stayed into my Conkeldurr because he decides to switch into his Umbreon. I would have outsped his Umbreon too if I gone for a Drain Punch or even for the priority Mac Punch, just in case I felt like I wouldn't have outsped. I would have been able to take out his Umbreon. But I should have stayed in. So good play on his side. I'm not sure if he was suspecting for me to switch out either. But so I wish I would have stayed in. This battle would have had a different outcome. So he goes for the Toxic on my Goodra because I did not want to stay in with my Chandelier. He has the Dark type move, and I couldn't lose my Chandelier. So I stayed in, and of course my Goodra gets toxic damage, and I'm like, God damn it, you know. I mean, my Goodra can't really do anything to his Umbreon, you know. I mean, Umbreon. So I decided to just switch out, and I believe I switch into my Conkeldurr. Now I knew a payback move or something of that sort was coming, and I knew my Umbreon could take it. And I knew he was going to go for a Protect, so I was like, okay, I could get a free switch in too, you know, so I could get a free switch in, not take a lot of damage off his payback that's probably going to be coming, which it did come. No, actually, okay, excuse me, I'm way ahead of myself. He switches out. He switches out into his Chandelier. Now, I went for the Mach Punch, expecting him to stay in still, and I switched out, and I was like, okay, I can't lose my Conkeldurr just yet. So I switch into my Goodra. He goes for a Shadow Ball, and his Shadow Ball actually does pretty good damage on my Goodra, bringing it down to yellow HP. Luckily, I didn't get the special defense drop, or else that would have been a little bit worse, because he probably would have been able to take me out with the second Shadow Ball. So I'm able to live it with 5 HP, and I'm able to get the Dragon Dance. Ain't nobody dancing here. I'm able to get off the Dragon Pulse, taking a critical hit on his Chandelier, which brings him down to yellow HP, which, you know, it's literally better than nothing, just almost there and taking him out. So I decide to switch into my Chandelier. Now this is where, you know, this is why I believe he was specs, because I do outspeed a Chandelier, and I'm able to take out his Chandelier. So that's Chandelier out the way. It wasn't a big issue with me, but it's another threat out of the way. So he switches back into his Umbreon. I really had nothing to do to his Umbreon. I'm sure a Shadow Ball wouldn't have taken it out either way, and I didn't want to risk it and lose my Chandelier. So I switched into my Conkeldurr. He goes for the payback, and I live the payback with 14 HP still, and I knew he was suspecting a Mach Punch or something like that, so I was like, okay, I'm going to play it safe. Even if he stays in, I'm sure Thunder Punch would have done good damage, and even if he decides to switch out, he won't be expecting Thunder Punch to be coming. So he switches into his Slowbro. I'm able to take out his Slowbro with a Thunder Punch. That Slowbro took a slap to the face with this Thunder Punch. Sit down, bro. Sit down. Sit down. So that's Slowbro out the way. That's one wall out the way. So I'm like, yes, you know, maybe, you know, I can still win this. His Aerodactyl comes in. Aerodactyl is weak to fighting type, and he Mega Evolves. Now this Aerodactyl is fast out the ass, like literally fast, man. And I'm like, okay, man, I know my Conkeldurr is not gonna be able to freaking take out this Aerodactyl with one Mach Punch. I'm like, god damn it, you know. I lose my Conkeldurr too on top of that with Life Orb for the extra damage. So Aerodactyl decided to go for the Aero Ace, but I was already dead, so it didn't work. And I go into my Chandelier, moment of truth. I die here. Yep. He outsped me and took me out with a Stone Edge. If that Stone Edge would have missed, I could have gone for a move, taken it out, and taken out his Lucario, which already had like 6 HP. Now this was a good battle. It was one of those battles where you just felt like, you know, like damn, you're in the moment. You feel like the trainer. You're there. It feels real. That's how this battle felt like for me. It was a really good battle. But other than that, if y'all enjoyed my content in this video, if y'all could just leave a comment, like, subscribe, it would greatly help me out, and I really appreciate it. And I will be catching y'all in the next video. You all have a great day.